Hello, friends and listeners. We are proud to present today's guest, Miss Joy Schwartz. She has earned a Master's of Education in Educational and Instructional Technology from Sam Houston State University. She also holds a bachelor's degree for secondary education, specializing in mathematics and computer science from East Texas Baptist University. Miss Schwartz is a retired high school computer science and mathematics teacher with 30 years of experience in the classroom in Central and Southeast Texas. She is also one of the inaugural recipients of the We Teach CS Change Maker Award and has served on the board of directors for TCEA. Congratulations. She has coached many UIL and TMSCA teams over the years in areas including computer science, mathematics, number sense, and robotics. Her areas of research include K-12 computer science, STEM education, equity in computer science, and robotics and drones, specifically the coding aspects. Ms. Schwartz joined TACC and EPIC in September of 2020 and will be developing and delivering computer science PD and test certification prep. One of her main hobbies also includes 3D printing and assembling prosthetic hands and arms for children. Ms. Schwartz, welcome. We are so excited to have you on our show. Let's talk computer science.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for getting the word out and the message and spreading the word about computer science. That's the best way to do it, is to get that message out.
Yeah, I've heard really amazing things about your hobby on the printing prosthetic hands and arms for children. Can we just start off with that? That I heard a really amazing story and the impact that caused.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to share that. So I have, it's kind of amusing. I had taught computer science and mathematics for many years, and my principal came to me and said, Joy, I want you to teach a 3D printing class next year. And this was over the summer, and I kind of laughed at her because I had been teaching for 25 plus years at that point, and I kind of chuckled at her and I said, I've never even seen a 3D printer except on TV or on the computer online. And I said, you really need to go with a younger teacher, someone who, not an old teacher. And she said, no, you're the one. So I did what any good teacher would do. I began Googling and finding some trainings and researching because I could tell she was serious. And so I researched online all summer, learned as much as I could about it. And so then school started. And so I began teaching this class, learning with my students. I always felt that that was important to learn with students, show them, hey, I'm a risk taker too. I'm just learning this. Even though I'm older, I'm willing to take a risk and learn with you, alongside you. And after the class started, she came in and she said, oh, by the way, I attended a training this summer, and this other school and students had 3D printed a prosthetic limb for a child, and I want you all to do that as well. And my mouth just dropped open because I was like, how are we going to do that? How am I going to make a working prosthetic limb that fits on a child? It just baffled my mind. So again, we began researching. We went and met the child. I had students that were very interested, not just in the 3D printing class, because the word quickly spread. It was a small school, so the word quickly spread. Hey, guess what we're doing? Talk about building interest in technology classes. That was, and I'll be honest, I didn't offer a grade for this. This was just one of those, let's do this because it's a good thing. Let's do this because we should do this for someone else. This will feel good, And so I actually had two young men who had not been on the best behavior most days in class. They wanted to see how they could get me off task and see if they could ruffle my feathers, so to speak. They became very, very, very interested in this. They suddenly were in class before school. They were coming in at lunch. They were staying after school. They were starting to research, where could I go to college to study this more? Ms. Schwartz, can you find more things for me to research about this? And when, so fast forward, so it took us a little bit because this was our first, but by Christmas, we gave Izzy a working prosthetic limb, and it worked. And so we had some media out and everything because principals like to do that. And another parent in the community reached out to me and said, hey, we're not in your school district, but my son doesn't have part of his hand. Could y'all make a hand for him? And her son is, 5 years old. And I'm like, yes, of course we can. And so we made him an Iron Man hand. And when we delivered it, he runs off, he puts it on and he runs off, and I can hear laughter. And I said, can I go see what he's doing? And they're like, of course. And I'm at their house, and I walk into the next room, and here is this little boy. He's holding his game controller, and he turns around in his little 5-year-old voice and he says, look, I can hold my controller now. And of course, I had to walk out to my car and sit there for about 30 minutes, and I'm probably going to do it now, and it was so emotional as a parent, because I am a parent as well, but just to allow my students to be a part of that, because I was learning too. I was a student of this. I was a student of 3D printing, I was learning, but my students felt so proud. So this was part of the award that I received from TACC, who I'm now working with, that's my employer now. But Dr. Fletcher found out about this, and she had me come speak. I was their keynote speaker at their first We Teach CS Summit. And I brought Izzy, the young lady that received the first arm. She and I took the stage along with the two boys who had been sort of the troublemakers, the misfits, and now they were focused on going to college and majoring in biomedical technology. They took the stage, and here they are up on the stage with this presence, emotional, talking about this experience, and I'm like, that's what we want to do as an educator. We want to help them change that course, find their fit. What is this really cool thing that I could do in life to make a difference in someone else's life? And I say it all the time when I'm working with drones or whatever cool tech object it might be. We're preparing kids, we're preparing students, we're preparing children for jobs that we don't even know exist yet, and so we're not even aware of them, but we're just we're laying down that foundation, that wonder, that curiosity for jobs that don't even exist yet. I was that kid. My parents were frustrated. They would give me a toy at Christmas. I would take it apart to see how it worked, and so then when I got to high school, we had computers. I'm old. My senior year in high school, we had computer science first. And I was like, this is fascinating. And of course, the language was basic. That's how old I am, but it was fascinating to me. So I thought, I'm going to major in this, So that's we've got to capture that. And so that's one of the reasons I love that you're doing this, getting the awareness out. And as educators, I'm happy to be on this team with Dr. Fletcher and the crew at TACC. We reach out to educators all across the United States, all across the world, and we help provide opportunities for them. We help train them. We help them get their certification. We help provide activities. We give them ideas, activities that they can do in the class. And it is a joy to do things like 3D printing and allow the students to see their growth in going through such a project like that.
Yep. Yeah, that is such an emotional story. You got me there, and impacted so many people. And I mean, immediately the kids, their parents, and your students. So
It was. And then we had other people reach out to us. There was a young lady in Austin, her mother reached out. And so we began a relationship there and made her several arms. I even had a parent over in Scotland that reached out to us, and a 16-year-old. And so I led another group of students through, making an arm for him. And we shipped it over there, found out all about the cost of shipping out of the country. Wow, that's an expensive cost, but we did it. We were like, we've got to do that. And then another year we took American Girl dolls, and we actually made small prosthetic limbs and attached them to the American Girl doll and gave them to some of our clients so they would have a doll that looked just like them. So, I took the 3D printing and tried to think of like cool ways that we could do some good things with tech for good. That's what I always think. Let's try to use this technology for good, do some good things with it. And even during the pandemic, my students, I was actually still in the classroom, so to speak. And so they would do some things at home and email it to me, and then we would take it out to the hospitals. We did the little mask extenders, and we did printed some of the visors and put the shields on them, and went and delivered those to the hospitals and things like that. So we try to do the tech for good, and we mix that in with the computer science. So
yeah, you are like the super role model teacher that we hear about in paper.
I don't know, but I'm not afraid to take a risk. Somebody tells me try this, and that's why that principle. I was going to say the key to this story, and I took her with me when I got the award. I said I will come only if Diana Valdez can come with me, because had she not said, Joy, I want you to teach this class. Joy, I want you to do this for, I would not have stepped out there and done that. And so it takes a team. It's a team effort. You have to have a supportive administrator. And so I hope if there's some administrators out there listening, please take a chance on those educators. Please support them and allow them to teach rich classes like computer science and 3D printing and drones and robotics, and allow those opportunities for students, because the students are ready. So allow the teachers to provide those opportunities and give those tools to the students.
Yep. Yeah. So can you tell me, like, how should schools increase more of these, in general, computer science and more of these innovative classes?
So I personally think that it has to start down at the elementary school. So I feel like you've got to have some, like maybe some STEM camps, some STEM clubs. So when I was working as the STEM coordinator in Beaumont ISD, that's the first thing that I did. I said, okay, I've got to have STEM camps, and I want to have lots of robots, different types of robots, and I want to have drones, and I don't want to just fly the drones with remotes. I want them to code the drones, because I want to bring in that computer science, because they already think the drones are cool, right? Because it's like a robot in the air, right? So I want them to be able to program that. And so then you get them hooked with the computer science. So to me, that's where it needs to start, is at the elementary. You start building that, that curiosity, that interest, and then you supplement it with languages such as some type of block languages or classes at the middle school, and then progress into the text languages, the fundamentals of computer science, or the AP classes and things like that at the high school. The cybersecurity, you have the different pathways, that you can offer now at the high school. But I really, really, really believe that it has to start at the elementary campuses now. And an easy way to do that is just through clubs or after school or STEM camps and things like that. And you can even connect that. You could have some of your high school or middle school students or clubs come down to the elementary campuses and provide some of those activities. You could connect that rich pipeline that way.
So can you please talk about some resources that are out there to teach computer science for K-12 students?
You bet. So I'm going to first start off with us. So for the high school right now, as a matter of fact, if I were in the classroom, I would reach out to us. I would reach out to TACC, because we have curriculum for both the AP class and just for the fundamental high school. For both classes, we have a curriculum package, and it's like a script, and it has lessons and it has quizzes and it has labs. I mean, it's perfect. And so if I were a teacher, I would first of all reach out, and they can reach out to me. They can reach out to Carol Fletcher. We will help them. And guess what? The price is right. It's free. There's not a cost associated with that. And so that would be the first resource. But there's other resources such as code.org. There are great professional organizations such as CSTA, TCEA. There are great professional organizations that have some networking involved there, that do a lot of training, and a lot of those professional organizations have free training. And so I know there are costs associated with some training, but some training they just provide freely, especially during this tough year that we've had. It's been a really hard year on educators. So trying to alleviate some of that hardship. So I would start with start with us, start with TACC, reach out to code.org, reach out to CSTA, reach out to TCEA. And those are some fabulous resources there. TEALS is another great resource. It's a part of the Microsoft family. And if your particular school doesn't have actual computer science teacher, TEALS will help you provide a professional volunteer from the community who will come in and help co-teach the computer science class. That way, you don't, if you're still trying to get that teacher certified, you've got someone there that's kind of shadowing and mentoring that person. And so that way the students are getting, the great information. Reach out to, if you've got colleges. I know here in Beaumont, our colleges love to come in and provide help to the high schools, because that's a vested interest. Because if they can get students interested in computer science at the high school level and then pull them on into their computer science programs, that's a great pipeline for them. So I would encourage schools to reach out around them to any schools that are any higher level schools that are around them. But that's where I would start.
So, let's say if we start from scratch, what would be an ideal solution for resources that are needed to help improve and increase CS education?
So, I mean, obviously you're going to need a teacher, and that has been an issue here in the state of Texas. For sure, it's everywhere, but for sure in the state of Texas, we don't have enough teachers to provide. So we've got to find teachers that are interested in being certified, because we can't have more students in classes if we don't have the teachers. So I would say we've got to make sure that we have teachers that are becoming certified. So I would say let's keep pushing that. Let's encourage teachers to become certified, and we definitely have a push for that within our program as well. That's one of the things I just finished this week. One of my coworkers and I, we just spent 3 days, all day, working with a group of teachers, helping them to prepare for the test. We take them through the domains and help go over. Just helping them kind of practice some of the material maybe they're not as familiar with, allow them to ask questions and things of that nature to help prepare them. So I would say the very first thing you need to do is find yourself some teachers. That's the first thing you need. And then the second thing you need to do is begin recruiting, and don't make sure that your program is wide. Don't limit. So often computer science programs are limited. If you take a look back when I was in computer science, I majored in computer science in the 80s. a female. I was a rare one. I was stemming it up when STEM wasn't even a thing. I was rare. I was one of the few females in the class, So that was just the thing. It was a bunch of guys, and so we need to widen that, and nothing wrong with guys being in computer science, but we just don't want it to limit to that. And we don't want the females and the people of color to walk by the room and go, oh no, that's not for me, that I'm not supposed to be in there. There's no one like me in there. And so we need to kind of make sure that we're providing, things that widen that door, that opportunity. And I know this is crazy, but I just was like, okay, how can I do that in my STEM camps for my elementary kids? And so I noticed that the people that were coming to my STEM camps, the kids even, were the kind of the same type of student. They were like me. They were the nerdy ones, right? They were the ones that liked math and science. And I thought, okay, how can I reach the ones that don't think they like math and science, right? Because that's what it is. It's not that they don't like it. They think they don't like it, right? So I thought, how can I find those? So I got with one of the basketball coaches and I said, hey, this is crazy, but I want to have a STEM basketball camp. And I want you, because they know you're the award-winning basketball coach. I want you to do this with me so I can advertise it. And they're like, okay. And so in the morning, we did STEM related activities. And in the afternoon, they did basketball skills. And so the kids signed up going, I'm going to basketball camp with coach whoever. And in the morning, I snuck in all those STEM things, but I did everything related to basketball. So we coded a scratch game that was basketball. We built towers that held basketballs. I found STEM related things related to basketball. But then I got in trouble though. My volleyball coach came to me that year and said, Joy, and I was like, you're right. You're sure right. So the following year, I had a volleyball STEM camp. But that's what we've got to look for, is a way to widen that, because not everyone is going to be interested in numbers like I was. Numbers do it for me. I'm a numbers person. That's just how my mind works. And that doesn't do it for everyone. Sometimes you're going to have a person that 3D printing a prosthetic arm gets them, and and so you got to look for things like that and provide opportunities that widen that doorway. I may have chased a rabbit there. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that is so perfect. I'm sure like so many other teachers, like your volleyball or the basketball camp, that's an amazing idea, right? They just need to partner with another person.
Yes. So. And it needs to be someone who is known, because and what the kids discover is that they do like math. They do like, it's just they've kind of convinced themselves that they don't like it. No, I'm an athlete. Well, guess what? You can be an athlete and be good at math. You can be an athlete and code. It's okay.
Yeah. It's needed these days, whether you become an athlete or whatever, you need to have some fundamental understanding of how computers think.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm truly, truly honored to talk to you, Joy. I'm so happy that I got an opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much for this.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add here?
I just thank you so much for getting the word out about computer science, and I just keep pushing us and I hope more people will keep getting the word out and more people come into computer science. Thank you so much.
Yep, that's the goal with the NCS education.